hold on to that position, but to see DBZ top 5, it's a good day in the office.
Definitely a good day in the office. I thought you were just doing some quick math, and I had quick math, you had slow math. It's totally fine. We're in the dropship. We're gearing up. We're ready to go. You guys can see Alsharim Pass just below in the marshlands as our teams look. Little Azaya Observatory. I'm sure we'll have some hotbed of activity there. Mr. Daft just exiting. I saw Swagg going out, but let's check in with Boom Kid. What a name.
Yeah, Boom Kid, Squad 49. This is one of those teams that's got something to prove. Got 24th overall in the custom quals there in stage 2, and made it here to the finals, and they got to get top 15. So a tall order against some of the best competition the world has to offer when it comes to stage 2. We were talking about how yesterday was the best Warzone competition we've ever seen, history to date. Today will at the very least match that, if not exceed that, and I believe we both probably would agree that that's been the case in the first half.
All right, let's go. Team Aydan, they mentioned it, 52.6 points. Team host Hisoka has made their way up to 6th place. That's really big considering they were outside the top 40, which, you know, there's 50 teams with 2 points. But Tenix looking to fry out here. This has been a consistent battle here with Team Sir Taylor and Vincent on the other hand of this. Not a bad weapon to start off with. IQ down and scooting across.
I'm telling you, IQ arrays, right? They're always fighting somebody off the rip, and I swear it's a different team every single time. IQ in trouble, right? And arrays have a decent angle to be able to help out. Boomkid trying to play spoiler, but not playing aggressive. And I think that's something that Donkey called out. A lot of teams are afraid to gunfight. And what happens when you play complacent? What happens when you play a little bit too patient? Well, you're going to get shots fired into your face. You're going to be headed to the gulag quickly. Confidence is key. You've got to go into every single gunfight with that confidence. Let's take a look at the map, Tiff. What do you see? A lot of teams down onto that kind of mid-south area. Only a couple teams outside of circle.
It's really not too bad. It's going to be a relatively free rotation. Look at Squad 12, Squad 30. They've got that entire right side of the map to themselves as they were in that early game contest. And Nicole, Picnic, Shadow Wag just did a nice helicopter rotation. Now looking down the barrels of Squad 16. Super Evan, Swagg. Little bit of a stronghold action going in. Huskerrs, though, haven't seen too much of them on main.
Can I please see Huskerrs with a minigun though? Thoughts? All I want is that minigun in his hand.
I mean, I'm here for the action. Let's send it, right? But we have to think about like where they are currently at on the leaderboard, because that's what I want to see. We know Team Almond has really solidified themselves up at 87.8 points, about 30 points higher than everyone.
Yeah, Tiff, Huskerrs team is like almost last. I mean, we're like 43rd. Like, we got to figure something out. This is a team that dominated in stage 1, had a massive game that catapulted them near to the top of the leaderboard. Of course, they were, 3rd overall after stage 1. Something has to go right in the second half, or we're going to be seeing them in LCQs.
What? That's why I couldn't find them on the leaderboard? That doesn't seem... This is abnormal, Gauche.
Yeah, I think it's unlucky. I think whether they're being contested off drop on purpose by some of the teams that have VOD reviewed, they've lost some of those early gunfights. Like, maybe you're taking 50-50s at the beginning of the map and you've lost all of them. I mean, it's a flip of a coin. If it is a 50-50 gunfight, anybody can win those gunfights. If you don't give yourself an advantage and you lose the coin flip 3 times in a row, that's not that high of odds that would happen. Like, that's a problem. But it's certainly within probable chance. So I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and VOD review from their perspective, but given the fact that they're that low, like, we haven't really seen them on a main broadcast much.
That would make sense. Team Joewo on your screen, currently 9th overall inside that top 15, looking to make a push, but PA just gonna be barely missed. Could have been theirs to make the push, but still Joewo going up the stairs, Limax bouncing around. This is what you need to do. Double stack the stairway so you can at least grab the trades. One gonna go down. Nice moves, and that player is in and out. Joewo, a little bit of a movement god there, in and out of the doorways, the windows, cleans that house.
That's a great play, great fight. Overall, that's the way you got to take those fights. Joewo could have just pushed through the door and tried to play the 1v1. If he loses his life there and trades a useless life away, you're going to regret it later. Well done from that team. They are playing very consistent, but not fantastic, right? They're sitting inside the top 10, currently situated in 9th, like you mentioned. They haven't had a breakout game yet, but they're inside the top 15. So if you can play consistent like that, hang out in top 10, and then just have one bigger map in the next 3, you're going to be feeling good.
Sir Taylor down. Vincent collect. Just looking for 10x. Once they get him cleared, they can prioritize the res. This is the hard part, right? Like, you want to get your teammate back up, but taking a 1v1, especially, he peeks the staircase. 10x was already prepped and ready for the fight, has repositioned himself. Now collect, jumping down. Not a bad read on that engagement. Just like that, done and dusted. Sir Taylor back up on his feet. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure ST Squad, I was trying to look at them on the leaderboard. They're actually doing pretty decent overall, have some fairly consistent games. They're currently situated on the bubble, folks. They're 15th overall exactly. So they're the team to beat, and they're the team that wants to make sure they continue some semblance of success to stay in it. T-Smith's found one from distance. Here's Aydan, Rated, and Adrian in a little bit of trouble. And Ebates is able to clean up Rated. So this is a fun fight. These are two teams inside the top 10, or they were. Fighting for position, jockeying for the top. Aydan Squad inside of second currently, but in trouble. Double stack through, triple stack, making a 3v1 to finish this thing off. Aydan has little to no chance of survival and doesn't make it out. Aydan Squad is wipes into the gulag early. They're going to be in a revive blender and try to get back into the map quickly, stabilize, and battle back. It can happen. We saw Team Omen do it, but it's going to be difficult.
That one hit hard, right? Z Smith grabbing that final elimination onto Aydan. Z Smith, guys, if you're familiar with anything Warzone, used to play with Aydan in a lot of tournaments, but jumping back on board, Braxton, Empathy, they have made waves historically in World Series of Warzone, and right now they've got their work cut out for them if they want to seal themselves a ticket to London. Not sure exactly where they fall on that leaderboard, but just outside the top 15th and 19th place, 31.6 points. Now, in the latter half of this series is the time to make those moves. If you're a bubble team, that is not the position you want to be in. We saw just how many change-ups alone went down in map 6. So if you're going to be here in map number 4, now's the time.
That's a great shout. I think 4 and 5 are really where you want to make a move. Game 6 is chaos. Teams at the bottom doing crazy things, contesting teams at the top. Anything can happen. It's Warzone, but Game 6 of World Series of Warzone, Stage 2, opportunity to go to land. Yeah, completely unpredictable. Find your rhythm now in map number 4. Smith playing anchor on top of the building. Great position while Ebates and DJ Moss are on the ground, albeit a little separated from each other. Try to regroup back up and play these fights together. Just saw Aydan pop up in the kill feed, by the way, so likely won their gulag. Aydan's team not out of it yet, but again, gonna have to stabilize for a while.
Team Ebates, Z Smith, DJ Moss breaking out the recon drone, looking down at Team Twitty. Zlaner, you saw at that end game in map number 3. One of the top 3 teams trying to find themselves a ticket to London. But if Z Smith, DJ Moss have anything to say about it, with Ebates giving those comms, this is about to be a wild push.
Down below, DJ goes big for a knock, does lose his life. C. Smith will trade out 1. Trying to read from down below. Fantastic read. Audio buff goes wild. Still wasn't able to grab it, though.
Ebates still with the comms. Zitrep gonna find him out when you're in a recon drone and you just get completely annihilated like that. Now if I'm Z Smith, I'm playing my life, my valuability, because we're already burning some gulags. We have to focus on the reset. So if you can get out and keep yours, at least prolong it, especially with being so close inside the top 15. Anything can happen. If you go out early, you might fall out of the top 15.
Triumphant, Lil Mario, Clay, another team with something to prove. 25th in stage 2 quals, the last team to eke their way here onto main stage. Winning it, by the way, over 26 with a tiebreaker, the exact same amount of points in that quals. It's fun to hear those stories and see if they maybe can capitalize on the opportunity. Here we go. Let's take a look at the map here, Tiff. As we zoom in a little bit, we'll be able to see where the circle's located. Southwestern-ish. Still a lot of opportunities on where this final circle could end up. Of course, if you look down towards Cemetery, I don't think we're going to be hanging out in Fortress for too long, so likely want to get out of there pretty quickly. You heard Dongi rotate a bit earlier than you think. That was the key to their success.
Yeah, I always thought Team Classic Pain down in the water heading towards Fortress. Saw a couple members of Team TBE just on the south side checking in with Observatory, Mayapo, Soka, Skullface, all up, and Adam and Dome, Epithy, Braxton, and Finessin looking down on Village. I mean, not necessarily bad positions. You also do have Squad 15. That's going to be Team Brolic out to the left.
Okay, well, we've got T and B, Tom and Ben, Tom and Almond still alive, but they're barely breathing, quite literally holding their breath, swimming around the map at this point. I think they had a really tough start from what I can tell. Noobs in the midst of some IRL storms maybe didn't make it into this one, or power dropped or something along those lines. But Tommy and Almond, they've played plenty of 2v2 tournaments. They could fight as a duo, but they've got to stabilize. And speaking of a team that's bringing down their necks figuratively on the leaderboard, Adrian and Rated have somewhat stabilized, but they're fighting TBC top 5, and Rated finds Zlaner first, grabs the elimination. Huge pick to even the tides here, 2v2.
Aydan was fully dropped earlier, prying to come into this fight. Good shots from Rated. Adrian grabbing the high ground. You can already see that Team Zlaners rotating out, saying, nah, this is not a good engagement. And we're talking about, especially when we heard from Dongi after map number 3, being nervous to fight. That team's not necessarily nervous to fight. You have to also be smart with your engagements, especially when they're unfavorable, right? When a team's got ultimate high ground on you and you have nowhere to go, sometimes it's best to just disengage.
Well, hey, this might be the first encounter we've seen Yeet and Vonk and try to grab the better of their opponents. A little bit of I'll call this an early fight. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They'll find it. Prospect was on 4, by the way, already with 39 up. Fantastic map thus far. Unfortunately, sent to the gulag or otherwise. Bonk, Future, and Yeet. They need a big one here. They need to start creeping up this leaderboard, and they need eliminations to do that. Nice 2-piece here from Yeet thus far, but there's nobody else in sight besides that squad.
In text, though, Blast and Believe have been looking rather consistent here, right? You have Team Locksteel. Looks like a duo of them still up and at them just on the outside of this, but rotating out. It's like a mobile buy station coming in. Regain. Get some UAVs. PAs. Stock up for that mid game.
That Team Intex was inside the top 10, but game 3 didn't go their direction, and now they've pushed out outside of the top 10. They're clipping away somewhere around 15th or so they're going to be vying on that bubble position for the global spots to land. As a reminder, if you haven't heard it, the 3 or 4 times we've said it, $150,000 on the line, which is a huge event, but also 15 tickets to the global land finals in London several weeks from now. All of these players would love to get a spot now rather than having to go through the all too difficult, I'm sure, LCQs. Strixie on 3 here with Squad 17. Chocolate, Strixie, Johnny Bro representing OTF. Gaming Org in the space. And doing it pretty well.
Super Evan, Z-Color, Swagg on the move. Rexity able to hit a self-res, was knocked early on by that squad, so now they're making the move. A little bit of a 3v1 action. Swagg, though, trying to make it happen, and Rexity hits to the water. Super Evan, though, catches the rotation, trying to eliminate this guy out of the water. Do you know how hard it is? Once someone hits the water, we talk about it, but should be able to clean that up. No big deal. Aydan back in the lobby to join up with Rated and Adrian and taking on another powerhouse of TBE, right? This is the last time we saw them. They were out in the water. Now I just see Almond.
Yeah, if Aydan's team's not slayers and not winners and not all the other adjectives you can give them, they are certainly resilient. Been down to 1 or 2 most of this map and continue to battle back, continue to grab cash, continue to buy back. Now all together with a decent amount of eliminations to boot. So a nice restabilization point for them. They've grabbed the outer edges of zone, and I believe Almond and I think that is Tommy still alive as well, floating around in the water. Not going to have a good, great game. TBE is going to try to salvage it to a good game, though, if they can, towards the late end of the circle. All they got to do is get to land, grab some weapons, and get back into the mix.
Depending on where this pulls, I would really like to position myself inside of Village, right? Because you have the road that kind of goes through it, but if you can maintain the high ground in village, you can watch people out on rotation. It just really depends on which side. Is it going to go more northern? Is it going to go more southern? And if you're Almond and Tommy, be one with the water. You are now otters in the ocean. Do otters go in the ocean, or are they freshwater?
Sure. I don't know. That's not my job. That is not my job. Let's swing over to DP, looking over top. Nice high ground position, but unfortunately, there's a lot of other high ground. And whether it's a precision airstrike, grenades, or just bullets from distance, I believe that might have been Wag Squad taking shots from distance that find Sin, send Sin to the gulag quickly. That's the nature of this POI here, Tiff. There's so many buildings you can get shot from. You've got to check your corners. You've got to check all your angles, and you have to communicate aggressively. Mention this team needs a big game. This team's got to be calming aggressively. They've got to find some semblance of a hair of chemistry they have left to pull through here in stage 2. They are frustratingly, I'm sure, down near the bottom of the leaderboard. They need a big one, and so far so good in this map, but push the equation, kill this team, move into the next zone, and reset from there.
Huskerrs is going to fall. Does get rezzed. Back up on his feet. Huskerrs and Unrational, though, as a duo, pushing the issue. Good with the nades to go out first. Not going to connect, but it doesn't matter. Huskerrs able to grab a knock on one, make it a 2. Easy dubs there with a nice squad wipe. You were talking about the chemistry, but that push looked pretty seamless from our POV as Nickel and Shadowwag maintaining high ground just here on the north side of Bay. Ebates and Co. out in the distance. You can see a lone Adrian pretty far out there. Circle's beginning to close, and I love the positioning here because you can see the ring at their backs of Picnic. Oh, he is a lone Adrian.
Yeah, kind of sandwiched between several teams, but no one's likely too comfortable with their situation. Looks like Team 24 is either driving or flying off there to the left. 44 might be the only team that can really threaten you from a distance, but it's Doug's Raw squad. They've got the Gunny, but a team that really has hardly played together. Hasn't done much on the leaderboard otherwise. But you've got to peek at them so you know they're there. You can communicate to your team and let them know if you're able to get them back. Question is, where do you go from here, though, if I'm Adrian? Like, I don't know where we get a buy off, and we don't even have enough cash for it yet. So here we go. Tommy and Almond, they've been swimming around for a while. Almond does have 6, by the way. It's so funny because it looks like they're not doing anything for a long time. Then you pop up and they're like breathing on double digits. Probably likely just got there already. 7, just hunting the edge of zone. I think it's Shark Week soon, and I don't know if they're going to feature Tommy and Almond, but they should.
I mean, they really should. These two could be
in
place of Megalodon at this point.
Sure.
Just trying to hold steady here on the little kind of rogue peninsula by Bay. They've got that warehouse in front of them, but the building in front of the warehouse wouldn't be a bad place to kind of set up shop. But at least they know that building will likely be free, which is kind of wild that it even is. JC Baby, though, still over here on the outskirts of Observatory, punished for even trying to peek.
I'm telling you, the Observer curse, the Cancer curse, whatever you want to call it, every time we swap to Team 19, they are in a blender. They're fighting for it. They're always scrappy, and they're always able to stay alive for a while, but man, we have not caught them on a good light yet. Hopefully we can change that in the final couple maps, but they push into the edge of Observatory here, continuing to battle for this high ground position. Zone will pull out of this POI, so where do you go from here? Talk about high ground being king, it is. However, sometimes when the zone pushes you off that high ground, you get punished for being up top, get caught in the action. Almighty does find one on main. Congratulations. We'll quickly get the buyback for Oak and see where we can go from here as JC's scoping it out from the skies.
We've also got Team Biffle and Team Hisoka still up in Observatory. Yeah, they get the buyback, and JC Baby is kind of like that budget UAV for the squad. Still able to grab some cash there. Biffle, the Mountain Goats here, still working their way up. You also have Emrius in the mix. They really haven't been able to find the success so far that they would like to, but holding out this team right here will be a good start.
Yeah, if that was a budget UAV, I don't know what Shifty and Sage's setup there was. Maybe Hertz? I don't know. I don't need to shout out specific brands, but it's a good rental car company, so maybe that's it. I don't know. They're holding down a fantastic position on the edge of this mountain. Every team's going to cycle straight to them. They can hold them with a quick heady on the edge of the mountain. Soka's going to do some cleanup and come out weak likely for it. Finds a 1. Able to stay alive. Team 19 hunting him down, but Maybe playing a little bit too timid. Mayapo now in trouble. So it's just Soka left alive, but he's going to have to go through not only Team 19 on the edge, but also Shifty, Sage, and Biffle holding the other edge of this hole. And, well, just kidding. Shifty wiped the entirety of Squad 19. So now the Soka's off to the races. Run away. Don't even take this fight. Let's get out of here. Maybe try to fly off the mountain, but likely there's going to be somebody down below, and it looks like that's Doozy. That'll probably pick you up if you go flying too far.
We do have a gas mask. You can see that Soka is playing this rotation with thought at hand, keeping an eye out on where the players are going to be. Swagg right there, able to grab the knock, though. Unfortunately, they are going to fall. Such an unlucky rotation. Now we turn to the former teammate, Shifty and Biffle and Sage. The team that is kind of at their ultimate demise. Time goes nuclear in the kill feed, taking down not only DJ Moss and Z Smith, eBay's last alive in a 1v2 situation. Unfortunately, down and out.
Exact gets the res. They're going to be back into it, but there are a lot of bullets raining hellfire from distance. This is the problem with Warzone. If you're playing edge of zone, you don't rotate early enough, there's going to be a ton of people looking at you that got there first. But a portable buy station is his saving grace. Exact able to hang out inside this smoke for a little bit, grab a couple more smokes, hopefully stay alive. We'll see if they're able to make it inside the top 15. 16 teams left, Tiff. We're almost there. And this is a brand new zone, a brand new circle. And this one's going to be interesting. A lot of buildings inside the zone.
It's almost like I called the village rotation early.
Yeah, you did.
Couldn't be me. Bredman on a little bit of high ground here. Not ultimate, but it's not a bad position to put yourself in. Joewo with the signal 50 in the hand, connecting. 5 eliminations.
Tiff.
This is going to be wild.
This team's on 15 just between Joewo and Bredman. How many is Limax got? This could be a banger. The boys, we were calling them out. They're playing consistent. They're top 9, top 10. Playing pretty patient, playing consistent, nothing crazy. Here's their breakout game. They've got to capitalize on the kill multipliers. Top 13 currently. We're looking for top 10 and then top 5. Maybe they can win it all. Drop the biggest game of the tourney, biggest game of the World Series of Warzone Stage 2. Time will tell, but right now there's another team that needs it as well, and they're on your screen. Huskerrs on Rational Scummin near the bottom of the leaderboard. They need a breakout game after a breakout game after a breakout game. They still have a chance.
Hey, but they're in village. They've got high ground. They have some good cover to work with. You just got to stay out of that LOS from Bredman and Joewo, your neighbors directly across from you, and a couple people in between. But look how spread out Huskerrs on Rational and Scummin are. Scummin is just a little bit further on the buildings ahead. On 5, able to get some good shots onto Bredman. He has to be at least 1 HP, immediately dropping down. Joewo now very aware of where Scummin has positioned himself, so will need to be precarious, because you know once you hear those signal 50 shots, you'll be like, hey, I gotta watch out. 1, 2 taps, you're gone.
Be clear, this is Scummin on your screen right now with the username. Super Heaven's being taken up by Finessing off screen. There's a lot of teams here, and they're all holding down their own buildings. They're like, this is mine. I've bought this real estate. Don't come into my house. I'm going to take care of you. But if you have the high ground like Scummin, you can rain hellfire down. You can hopefully deplete some resources, deplete some plates. Douglas Raw and Exact getting god tier zone for them, but there's a couple teams that'll likely try to rotate earlier. This team has to be one of them. They need to wrap around and get to the zone early. If they've got the durables, if they got the gas mask, which it doesn't look like they have any gas mask, they're going to be in trouble on this rotation. If you don't have a gas mask in this circle, you are going to be hurting, because there's some squads holding you, waiting for you to come in. Unfortunately for Douglas Raw and Exact, I don't know that they can do much here as a duo sitting inside playing close range. I think they're going to be swarmed by 2 or 3 teams trying to make it to zone.
Coming down and out, but Huskerrs and Unrational both coming back to the aid as the zone is starting to pull. Who's going to have the first rotation? Doug is raw on the low ground. Destroy not too far away as Clutch Belt gets annihilated. Now Shadow Wag. Doug is raw, picks up.
Here we go.
Destroy, fulls. And here we go. A little bit of endgame action. We've hit the top 5. Look who's got the ultimate high ground, but they are going to have to move.
Yeah, Joe's out of here. It looks like Joe's team was wiped on the way in. Still a good game for them. We'll watch them creep up the leaderboard some more. Huskerrs on Rational Scummin. They need it. They need it bad, and they're in trouble. One down and another one in trouble. Attract and flanked inside the top 10 with Smixy. They went quiet for a little while, but they're here with a vengeance, and they go big. They take down 2. It's just Unrational left alive. They left him up top, and Attract's left alive for that squad down below, while Flank's holding high ground. This is a great pinch. If Flanked and Attract don't get killed by Unrational here, they can win it with height, albeit they are hanging out in this zone for a while. Unrational finally runs out of the gas mask. Who goes first?
I was gonna say that's about to be the biggest 1v1, but he turns it back too early. Flanked able to pick up the full attract already in that next zone, but it's Picnic able to get some early shots on, going to fall. Now Nickel has to keep the dream alive for the team, but it's gonna be flanked and attract both alive. He misses the throwing knife. Flanked, gonna drop it down. Picnic able to self-res. Now flanked from the high ground, goes down, has a self-res, but will the gas mask withstand? I think it will be enough. Goj, what a freaking game for map number 4.
Was that flanked and attract winning that?
I think so. I'll wait unofficially, but it looked like he was able to get back up and put enough damage on. It's either Picnic, it's either flanked. The self, man. The self.
I think there was a self-revive at the very end. Flanked and attract go massive for their game, massive for their chances to London, and massive for a large amount of the prize pool. I'm excited to see that winning moment and see the reaction. It was flawlessly executed. Attract goes early, gets down to the small high ground position overlooking the rest of the teams. They know they're still dealing with Unrational, and Flanked stays patient. Rated said it best before the tourney, Tiff. He said the first one to make a move usually is the person making the mistake. You have to stay patient. And that's exactly what Flank did.
Look, I've seen some really big moves out of Attract, whether it's the Call of Duty resurgence that happened with Fortune's Keep. Let's run that winning moment back from Attract.
Baby.
Okay.
How do we win that game?
I don't fucking know.
I've never related to something more. 10 eliminations, 20 points. You hear Smixy, you did so good.
Oh my gosh! How did we win that?
Really jumped out at the perfect time. Huskerrs
I know.
Scumming
Zero
like ran
second.
in and I went out.
You literally phased through their body, Alb. I watched that.
Literally.
They are sick to their stomach. They are sick to their stomach.
I'm sick to my stomach, Goj. I'm sick to my stomach. But that was